Bottom line is it's really comfortable in the corporate world, but it's not safe. And so you need to consider leaving that corporate comfort to becoming an entrepreneur for the 8 reasons that we talked about, right? This idea of financial control, personal fulfillment, risk mitigation, strategic independence, all these reasons. It's great.
Welcome to the Hire Yourself podcast. Are you stuck in the corporate rat race, worrying about layoffs, and longing to take control of your destiny? This is the place for frustrated executives like you who want to escape the grind, live life on your own terms, and build wealth. Whether you're ready to make a full transition into franchise ownership or want to start building a side business along your corporate job, Pete guides you every step of the way. He'll talk about how to create career and income security, diversify your assets and income, and live life on your own terms. Your path to controlling your own destiny starts now.
Welcome to the Hire Yourself podcast. My name is Pete Gilfillan. I am an entrepreneur, the best-selling author of the book Hire Yourself. I'm a national recognized franchise consultant and a proud corporate escapee. I work with hundreds of executives each year, senior level executives, to help them take control of their destiny, to build wealth, and to live life on their terms. There is so much more than just that corporate ladder. And I got to tell you, on this podcast, I always try to solve or answer a question. And bottom line is that today, what I want to focus on is, hey, listen, if you've ever read the book, Who Moved My Cheese, bottom line is that your cheese has been moved, right? Get your sneakers on now. Get your sneakers on, right? So with Who Moved My Cheese, bottom line is, if you read the book, it's the cheese station. They kept coming to the cheese station, going, just like keep going to that corporate job. And then one day, the cheese pile, the cheese isn't there anymore. And bottom line is, someday it could be your corporate job isn't there. So why are more executives leaving their corporate jobs to become an entrepreneur? Well, there's a great article in CNBC in August that kind of talk about this, why more executives are leaving their corporate jobs. And bottom line is, they talk about this, that senior level executives are increasingly vulnerable to layoffs, to restructuring, and AI-driven role reductions. Bottom, we've talked about this before. AI is having a huge impact. There is no more loyalty. We'll talk about that in another podcast. But bottom line is that more and more ones, and top level leaders are seeking financial independence, control and destiny. I've done podcasts on that, right? Becoming an entrepreneur is one of the fastest ways to create financial independence or control your destiny. It also urges executives to not wait too long because they could lose their income. And you want to leverage that experience now while you can. So bottom line is that many executives are now taking the path of becoming entrepreneurs. So why do we do this? Well, I believe there are 8 reasons to move from being that corporate comfort. I got that paycheck. It's what I would believe that people believe is stability and this idea of ownership freedom, right? The first reason why corporate comfort, move from corporate comfort to ownership freedom, is that there is no longer job security. There is no longer corporate loyalty. Executives are increasingly vulnerable to being laid off, mergers, and all that kind of stuff. You're seeing companies like Google, Microsoft, who recently restructured their leadership teams, reducing the executive roles. Bottom line is it's really tough. So bottom line is, and there's a great article in the Wall Street Journal that said everybody's replaceable. Unfortunately, that's just the way it is. The second is, we've done a podcast on this idea of get your sneakers on, move from that corporate comfort to becoming an entrepreneur, having your own freedom, is that you truly control your own financial destiny. A corporate job, you're limited by the salary, the pay increases you can get, the bonuses, the benefits and stuff like that. As a business owner, you can decide how much you're going to pay yourself. And bottom line is that you can find that you can create something and create a larger income. And you go, well, Pete, I have a great corporate level income. And I'm not saying that you can replace that over time. Maybe you start the business and start building and growing it. But the idea is that you can build a great income as a business owner, right? So, a lot of people are looking at franchises as maybe it's an easier way to become a business owner and create wealth. Number three, why we want to move the comfort of that corporate job to the freedom of being an entrepreneur is that you have flexibility, you have that work-life balance, and it's on your terms, right? And as an owner, you're scheduling your time, you're prioritizing your personal life that works for you. You're not having to have corporate mandates where you've got to go back into the office, or you got to travel, or you have to go to meetings and stuff like that. Bottom line is that you can set your schedule. You can have that work-life balance. Sometimes that means you're not working less, but it's on your terms. And I always use my story where, I've missed events with my kids and I'll never get that back. But when I became an entrepreneur, I didn't miss any events. Did that mean that I didn't work as hard? No, I still worked hard, but it was on my terms. So my daughter had a soccer game at 4:00. Bottom line is I might get up a little bit earlier, get my stuff done. I would do maybe stuff afterwards if I had to, but bottom line, it was on my terms, right? And bottom line is that's just the way we have to do it. And more executives are leaving their corporate jobs just to have that freedom. One of the things I've talked about many times on my podcast is that as we talk about this idea of moving from kind of that comfort of that corporate job to the freedom of being an entrepreneur, is bottom line is that you can leverage all that great corporate experience that you've gained to build a business where you have a direct impact. As executives, you learn all those skills, leading the business, understanding operations, hiring people, strategy, implementation, all that kind of stuff, the financial side. Well, you can take those skills and you can apply it to a franchise business, right? That's got the business model, got all the systems, processes, procedures, and then you can be engaged in the community from that standpoint, making a direct impact. More and more corporate executives are taking the path of franchise ownership, and they're thriving with this because of their strong skill sets. And so this is something that's very applicable. Take those skills and use them to your advantage. As we also talk about this idea of shifting from kind of that corporate comfort to being an entrepreneur, is that you can diversify your assets, right? And you can protect yourself from economic uncertainty. As a business owner, you reduce your dependency on that single employer. You're hedging yourself against corporate layoffs or economic downturns. As a business owner, you're the last person, right? You are not going to lay yourself off. So bottom line is that you're in complete controls. And bottom line is that Forbes talked about this, how franchise ownership can shield executives from economic shifts. It was a great article. I encourage you to read it. Sixth reason why we should go from that corporate comfort to being an entrepreneur is that you can create a legacy. You can have that personal fulfillment. You see, as an owner, it allows you to have a tangible asset that you can pass on to your family, or it can be something that you sell, and it could be something that sets up your retirement. Also, you are, for lack of better terms, fulfilled because you're making a difference in the community, helping create jobs, supporting the local teams, right? And this matters. This is something is that it doesn't matter how much money you have. Sometimes it's about this impact, right? But when we have financial independence, it's sure easier to make a difference. And I certainly can appreciate that. Another reason to go from that corporate comfort to becoming a franchise freedom is this idea, that you can innovate and you can use strategic stuff on your terms. If you come up with an idea, you can implement that idea. You don't have to face all that corporate bureaucracy and have to go through channels and decide if you can do it or not do it. Bottom line is you can decide, hey, I really like this idea. I think we can run with this. And bottom line is you go try it. I always say fail fast, go figure out stuff. You can put in new strategies, you can leverage different things, but bottom line is that you're in control. Bottom line is that Entrepreneur had a great article a couple years ago. It's called Corporate Bureaucracy versus Business Ownership, the freedom to act. And, it's so refreshing when you don't have to ask for permission to do something. Certainly, another great reason to move from that corporate comfort to becoming an entrepreneur is you can protect against ageism and career plateau. And bottom line is that as we get older, there is an invisible glass ceiling. And bottom line is that you're going to get to a certain level and you say that you have a great role and you get pushed out. You get pushed into retirement. No fault of your own. You get pushed out. Well, you find that you're gonna interact because ageism is still out there. You're gonna be clocked out, and it's gonna be very difficult to find another role, the equivalent you had, or make what you had before. And so, as a business owner, you're not gonna be clocked out of it from that standpoint. You're not gonna hit a plateau with your career. You're in complete control of your income, and if you're in your 50s, you're probably gonna already experience experienced this. Bottom line is that ageism is out there. It is just the world we live in. We're not going to change that. So protect yourself. Have that business on the side. Maybe then you shift to being involved in it full time. But ageism is in the corporate world. There's a great Forbes article, Ageism in the Corporate America, Why Senior Executives Are Starting Their Own Businesses. Great articles out there. Bottom line is it's really comfortable in the corporate world, but it's not safe. And so you need to consider leaving that corporate comfort to becoming an entrepreneur for the 8 reasons that we talked about, right? This idea of financial control, personal fulfillment, risk mitigation, strategic independence, all these reasons, it's great. So again, I help senior level executives take control of their destiny, build wealth, and live life on their terms. And if you just want to learn a little bit more about what I do, set up a 15-minute call with me. I'd love to hear a little bit about your situation, tell you how I can help you explore franchise business opportunities. If you like what you heard today, I can encourage you to subscribe, follow my content. I am here to help senior level executives take control of their destiny, to build wealth, and live life on their terms.
Thanks for joining us on the Hire Yourself podcast. Pete's here to help you break free from the corporate rat race, take control of your destiny, and finally live life on your own terms. Whether that's jumping into franchise ownership full-time or starting it as a side hustle. If this episode resonated with you, don't forget to subscribe, share it with a fellow frustrated executive, and leave a review to let us know your thoughts. Until next time, take charge, build your future, and live life on your own terms.